Well, as you can see, I had a little bit of dirt on that rail, so it's a good thing that I cleaned it out. I'm going to go ahead and toss this Q-tip into the trash, and now we're just going to take a more in-depth look at your fader. So, like I mentioned earlier, if you ever have to detach this cable, make sure that the red line matches up with J1 on the board. Let me show you what that is. To disconnect the cable, simply lift up on it, and it will pop right off. Now you'll see on the circuit board, hopefully, that it says, well, okay, it's going to say J1 right there. And make sure it says J1 here, the red line attaches there. Very important. If you do it wrong or it's not fully on there, it can fry the fader. So again, J1, red line. Very important. If the ribbon cable ever becomes detached from the main board of the mixer, make sure when you reattach it, the red line of the ribbon cable is pointing to the right. Okay, so we've got our fader out, and I've already taken one apart. As you can see, these are the end blocks. They obviously hold the rails. They go into the end. Important. And they attach by 2 screws on the bottom. Again, this is soft plastic and they're short screws. So if you ever have to take them out, put them back on, you don't need to go all Hulk on it. Just get it nice and tight. Those are your end blocks. In between, you have your fader rails. Now for a deep cleaning, something that I've liked to do in the past is I just take these out, fill a little container with Deoxit, and put them in there, let them soak. It's going to get all the gunk right off of it. Okay, we also have the board. It's where everything attaches to, so you see that there. And also, finally, we have the carrier. This is your crossfader. Moves back and forth, left to right. Also, you'll notice this little copper spring on it. That's called the torsion bar. And this is how we can increase or decrease the drag the fader has on the rails by its position. As you see, it's currently along the bottom of the rail for a nice drag. Now, some people might say, oh, my fader's too loose, I want a little more tension on it. So what I would do is take this torsion bar and actually move it above the rail. Now it's sitting above the rail. That's going to give me more torsion because it's sitting on here as I slide it left to right. So that's one trick to get a little more tension, but I want it back the way it should be. Let's put it under the rail. There we go. Okay, so it's back to underneath the rail. Also, on the silver rails here, you'll see on each end that there is a rubber washer on each side. It's important when putting these back together that you get the rubber washers on there. This is the magnetic crossfader. It goes left, it goes right. The magnets talk to these Hall sensors and tell it to close the signal. So these Hall sensors are these little black diodes, and you want to make sure that they are standing straight up. As you can see, the end blocks have a little guide for them. So it would sit on there and sit in there, and it's standing straight up.